Hey, what's up guys, it's Mike. I have my buddy Christian here, and we're in the middle of chatting about a really good subject, and I wanted to set up a camera to show you guys and to give you guys some good information because I think it's going to help you guys too. So basically, I've been doing a lot of traveling, and it's really creating, I've been getting a lot of jet lag, and it's been influencing my sleep a lot. I feel like my sleep patterns are a little off, and just today I realized that my workouts have been, the intensity is a little bit lower, my strength has gone down a little bit, and so I've been talking to Christian on it. Just to give you a little background about Christian, he has a master's degree in human nutrition. He's been in the supplement industry for 20 years, so he's seen pretty much every single trend you can think of. And also he's been a pro bodybuilder for about 15 years, turned pro back in '98. So when it comes to advice, supplements, workouts, hormones, things like that, this is the guy I turn to. So he works with me here, so he's one of the guys that I chat with all the time. So we actually have these conversations all the time, just so you know guys, but I wanted to record this one because the topic we're talking about I think is going to really help you guys out. So I know we're talking about how I'm getting jet lagged, and you're basically pointing out that the main thing is sleep for me on why my workouts are kind of not where they should be. You want to kind of fill people in on how sleep can affect people's like workouts or strength or intensity, stuff like that.
I mean, some of the things that we spoke about before is that sleep is absolutely crucial for what we do, right? And depriving yourself of your sleep, especially during jet lag or times where you've lost 4 to 6 hours of sleep, is going to really throw off your whole system. You're not going to be able to focus properly. You're not going to be able to recover from your workouts properly. You're not going to be able to perform your day-to-day functions. Your love life is going to suffer, and most importantly, also your immune system takes a humongous beating and suffers from this lack of sleep. So it's really crucial for you to recover your normal sleep patterns as quickly as possible.
And you know, one thing I realized, I think this happens to people also, is when they don't get enough sleep, when this happens, they'll take like stimulants, coffee, energy drinks, stuff like that, to kind of make them feel normal. I know personally for me, I've done that in the past, and every time, it's like I feel like I'm not very tired, but it's kind of like what we talked about earlier. Your creativity, your focus, your intensity, like everything that it kind of involves you needing sleep goes down, and any type of stimulants, energy drinks, all this stuff, fat burners, I'm taking everything to try to offset it because my sleep used to be really bad, and it never helps.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I've done it myself. We all like being productive members of society. And at times when you suffer from a lot of lack of sleep, right, you want to take the stimulants to make yourself feel better. But what you're basically doing is putting a Band-Aid on a hatchet wound, right? Eventually, you're going to have to recover. So the best thing you do is try to do something to get yourself back into your normal sleep patterns. Because otherwise, long-term effects are going to be really deleterious to any type of fitness goals that you may try to be making. You're not going to be able to recover from your workouts. Your hormones are going to be completely suppressed. Growth hormone is with as little as just 4 hours of loss of sleep, your growth hormone takes a humongous dump. If that happens, testosterone follows the same route. So your recovery is terrible. And listen, we've all done it. We've traveled. We've gone back and forth, and we tried to function on short amounts of sleep. But there is no shortcut to it. It's probably the most crucial and most important thing we can do for our bodies is to make sure we recover our normal sleep patterns as quick as possible.
Yeah, I'm really seeing the importance a lot right now. Like I said, the stimulants and stuff doesn't help.
No, it never does.
What do you say about guys? Because I know a lot of times people think, well, if they partied really hard on like Saturday night or something, or Sunday, on Monday they're feeling it, but they figured, hey, I'm just gonna go ahead and just get a little extra sleep and they'd be okay. But I know we were talking about this, and a lot of times they aren't able to catch up on sleep the right way. What are some of the things that kind of stop people from from catching up, even though that's kind of what their intention is?
Some of the problem is, especially when it comes to jet lag, is resetting your circadian rhythm. Or your circadian rhythm is basically your body's own natural rhythm for sleep. It knows when it wants to go to sleep. It's already used to falling asleep at, let's say, 6 o'clock in the evening. But if you travel across country, you're now 4 hours off, right? You're suddenly up at 2 a.m. and you think, oh my God, I'm ready to start my day, when it's night outside. So it's really crucial to try to get yourself back into that rhythm that's natural for you, again, quickly as possible, so you can be, we can be productive. With me, when I travel cross country, right, I still got to write blogs, I still got to write training reports, I still got to do formulations, right? And if I'm not focused and I'm not able to do this think tank work, right, I'm a mess, and I sit there and I'm just in a fog. So what I do, like sometimes I'll carry along with me a little bit of melatonin, right, which is the hormone that's responsible for resetting your whole circadian rhythm, right? It will induce sleep. So anywhere between 1 to 5 milligrams of melatonin is perfect, right? Depending on what your tolerances are, and that can be just enough to get you back into the rhythm that you need to get you sleeping again normally.
And the circadian rhythm is basically it's just like when somebody pretty much gets tired at a certain time every night, and they seem to wake up without an alarm clock every single morning.
Exactly. Your body knows how much rest it needs, and it also knows exactly when it's fully rested and it's time to get up. Just like if you sleep too much, you feel like crap. Yeah. If you sleep too little, you feel like crap. So there's that zone where your body naturally knows, hey, I've got enough rest, right? I've recharged my batteries. The hormonal cascade has happened. I feel refreshed, and I'm ready to start my day fully refreshed. And I know I keep pushing this refreshing thing, but it's just the feeling of recovery. And that's the best way I can describe it.
Yeah, because today, for example, guys, I hit legs today, and that's why we're making this video, because I was squatting. I was like, I'm gonna go heavy. I'm gonna get back into it, and I usually rep in 275 for about 8 to 10 reps. Today I did 5 reps, and I was out of breath and out of energy, straight up. And I'm thinking, what the hell is wrong? It's Wednesday, and I thought I had enough sleep, but over the weekend did some traveling, so I see what you mean on that. On the melatonin, if somebody was going to take a hormone like melatonin, how many days do you think it'll take to for it to kick in and for their sleep patterns to go back to regular?
It's very dependent on your own body. Some people respond really great to melatonin, in which one dose they're right back on it. Some people may take a day or two until the body resets itself to where it's supposed to be. The circadian rhythms are your body's response to light, right? We've evolved to respond to when light goes down and the sun goes down, we get sleepy. So when you throw that off by going cross country or around the world, like you travel, well, you know what? Now we're used to falling asleep at 2, 3, in the afternoon. In some places where we're here, hey, listen, it's 8 over here. I'm usually in bed. It's going to be off, right? Some people can reset that really quickly. Some people may take a day or two, but usually no more than 3 days of taking melatonin to recover yourself is usually necessary. But again, everybody's an individual, so some people may be much more sensitive to it than others, right? I personally, I don't need to use a lot of it. Usually one day is usually good, and I'm back on track.
Nice. And also, I think another thing we were talking about is not only does it affect like your hormones, but also affects your immune system. And that's something I usually don't really think too much about, because when we think of building muscle, we just think of testosterone, we think of growth hormones, but I realize immune system is such an importance, because not only does it affect you in regular things that you do, but also allows you to make sure that you don't catch some of the airborne diseases that we were talking about.
Absolutely.
Colds.
It's a feed forward loop, right? You lose sleep, you lose energy, you lose focus, you try to catch up with some energy drinks, you're still tired, your immune system suffers, right? So now you're more susceptible to catching a cold, maybe responding to allergies, getting a small sinus infection, getting an upper respiratory infection, which causes you to lose more sleep again, right? Throw yourself off. And it just feeds itself forward. And
sounds like some of the guys in our office.
It sounds like our guys in our office, absolutely. But the importance of sleep can't be overdone. There's been plenty of studies that show that if you lose sleep, your immune system is suppressed for as many days until you get back into your normal pattern of sleep. Right? And once you recover and get that full pattern of sleep, your immune system is back to 100% with just one good cycle of sleep. That's powerful, man.
Man, yeah. So then I can see what you mean, because then there'll be people that they never catch up. It may take a week to catch up, and during that week, they're getting sick. They're seeing all these symptoms.
Worst case scenario, right, are partiers, right? You go these guys, they roll day after day after day. Their skin is sullen, right? They have bags under their eyes. They're constantly sick. Some guys, their teeth are falling out of their heads, right? This is stuff that happens from their bodies. Basically, it's tired. It needs rest, but they're constantly taking something to keep them going and partying and going.
Teeth falling out, man.
Teeth falling out.
You know some.
I know some hard guys, dude. I know some hard guys. So
damn, man.
But that's the worst case scenario where you're talking about guys who have not slept in 7-8 days.
Yeah,
and their body's shutting down on them.
Yeah, that I've definitely seen that, man. It's all the rollers and they all look like twigs. They're pale.
They look like zombies. And it's their body's just begging for them to stop for a little while, let me recover. Right, you can keep on partying. Yeah. Right, but eventually you're gonna pay the price.
So besides the people that are traveling, I would say the guys watching this video probably partying. I would say probably partying and maybe stress is probably the biggest things that disrupt their sleep.
Stress is hard because we all go through it, and it can be both oxidative stress, where we just from experiencing everyday living, and it can be stress from positive stress with things from working out like we do. Right. Also, stress from the family, stress from listen, we all got partners. So we get stress from the ladies every now and then. The way it works. So all that adds up, and sleep plays a humongous part in recovering from that type of stress. That type of stress releases a hormone called cortisol. Cortisol is an anti-inflammatory hormone. It helps break down tissue to deal with this stress. Right? Your body deals with stress by releasing this hormone and an enzyme reaction, and basically trying to quell this inflammatory process that's happening. Right. Now, if you're not sleeping, you're constantly pumping this hormone out. Right. And that's a good sign of that. Guys have really big bags, big dark spots under their eyes. Right, their adrenal glands are producing cortisol at such a high level, right, that now the blood vessels are beginning to break underneath their eyes, and those are the dark circles.
So that means everybody's watching it. They look in the mirror and they got bags, and they know who's partying. You know who you're partying and not.
You know who you are.
So yeah, that's a good one. So actually, let's touch on that really quick, man. So bags, So bags under the eyes is one indication.
Bags and dark circles under the eyes are a prime indication of your adrenal glands overworking. You're overproducing cortisol. You need to rest. Your body needs to quench this and get it out of your system and refresh.
Is there another sign that guys can kind of look for to kind of gauge if their cortisol levels could be high?
Usually joint pain. Joint pain is another thing where you're doing your everyday thing. You're not getting enough rest. But you're not recovering quick enough. You're staying sore much longer than usual. Your joints are beginning to hurt. Right? You need to give your body that time off. You need to rest. So you need to find some way of inducing sleep. Right? Whether it mean, hey, you know what? This is my quiet time. I need to go in my room, shut those blinds, and go to sleep. Right? Or somewhere where you can shut off your brain, or use some sort of supplement that can help assist you in getting into those deep REM sleep.
So let's say guys that had a great time on the weekend, lost a little sleep. Now it's Monday and they got to get back on the ball. What would you suggest? They do? Like, do you suggest they take like melatonin? What's the fastest way?
Melatonin is probably the fastest way to do it because it does induce sleep. That's the hormone's sole purpose. Right? Is to get you sleepy so that you fall asleep. That is got to be probably the best way of doing it. Right? The most direct, the most effective ways. There are other ways. There are other nutrients that can help too. Zinc and magnesium, right? They play wonderful roles in thousands of different enzymatic processes. But one of the things that they help do is help relax the muscle. So if you're tense, your muscles are tense too. Taking the magnesium aspartate or zinc and magnesium aspartate, which would be perfect, right? Helps relax the muscles, right? And also helps with the pulsatile release of testosterone. Testosterone gets released pretty heavily when you sleep, really, really heavily. So another thing that helps with that is gamma aminobutyric acid. Right? It's a great precursor to a neurotransmitter that assists with the pulsatile release of growth hormone. Right? Right? Now, all these hormones are happening during deep REM sleep. So if you're not getting that, you are not taking advantage of all the benefits that sleep does. So we just touched on 5 or 6 things right
We didn't even talk about REM sleep.
No, we didn't even get into that. Honestly, you don't even need to. Right? We've already talked on, dealing with anxiety.
Yeah.
Dealing with cognition so you can focus and do your work, right? Dealing with recovery for your workouts, dealing with your sexual appetite. You're not going to be able to perform unless you got enough energy to.
Yep.
And also just your general well-being from your immune system should be enough to motivate people to really pay attention to what is happening with your sleep cycles.
And just I don't want to go too much into it, but on the performance part. One thing I've realized before is a lot of guys, this may happen to you guys, to where you think you are just tired, or that might be what you're telling her. but a lot of times you may just feel, I'm just not tired, I'm just not in the mood. But what's actually going on though is your hormones, you have a huge hormonal imbalance, which is why you're not in the mood, because naturally healthy men should basically always be in the mood, especially if you have a beautiful lady, there who's wanting, I mean, so that's just kind of one of the things you want to pay attention to, I would say. I mean, we're talking about muscle building, and I really honestly, I haven't seen a big difference in that. But I've definitely seen in the past, and all the time before, I thought it was just because I was tired or just not in the mood. But now I realize a lot of times hormones.
And if your sleep patterns are off, you're not producing the hormones that are necessary to basically perform. And if you're not producing testosterone and you have your cortisol levels right through the roof, the one thing you're not going to be able to do is rise to the occasion. So it can be you're not in the mood, and baby, I just need a little bit of sleep and some orange juice. But the real truth behind it is your hormones are all out of whack, and you really should take some time to recover.
Rise to the occasion.
Hey,
man, you been thinking about that one? That's a nice line. Rise to the occasion. All right. Well, guys, we're gonna chat a little bit more. Don't want to drag it too long for you guys, but I just wanted to share some of the information that we're talking about. So keep in mind, if you're partying hard. Living life, having a great time, but also if you're traveling or if you're just really stressed out, a lot of these things, along with any other thing that could be disrupting your sleeping patterns, one thing you want to do is to get your sleeping patterns, and like what Christian says, get your circadian rhythm back to normal ASAP. Because even if you don't think that it's affecting you, it's affecting you. And the same mistake that I had, because that was the problem with mine. I didn't think it was affecting me as much as it is. I just would blame it on other things. Hey, I just didn't have enough energy. I just didn't eat enough meals, so that's why I'm not doing the same weight. It's none of that when I really dig into it. So pay attention to those guys, and if you want the fastest way to basically get back on a good rhythm, try taking that hormone melatonin. And you said about let's say for somebody, how many milligrams for somebody at 150 pounds versus, let's say, 200?
I'd say anywhere between 1 to 5 milligrams, right, is a safe range.
Yeah.
Right? To be cut it right down the middle, 3 milligrams will usually take care of everything.
Yeah. Would you say it's safe to where if somebody that weighed a little bit more would take 3, and if it didn't make them sleepy, to try a little more? Or?
You could try it night by night. If 3 milligrams is not enough, I wouldn't go anything over 5.
Okay. And also, how long do you think it'll take to get sleepy?
Half hour, 45 minutes. That's it. So ideally, right, take your melatonin, right, half hour, 45 minutes before you get ready to retire. Get yourself all calmed down. Turn the TV off, close those shutters, get yourself in a nice cool room, snuggle up with your bunny, and you go to sleep.
All right. So. There you go, guys. Grab some melatonin, get your sleep, so you can continue to build more muscle, and we'll keep those lifts going. All right. So let's talk about with the lifting and also how it's.